how the governor is appointed. Let's talk about that first. Who appoints the governor? The president appoints the governor, and the president appoints the governor at his discretion or on the basis of the advice tendered to him by his council of ministers. Advice. It means on the basis of ministerial advice. Is there any qualification mentioned in the constitution to be a governor? No qualification mentioned in the constitution to be a governor. Now, can the same person be appointed as a governor for more than one state? Can that be done? Yes. Can the same person be appointed as a governor and as an administrator of a union territory and state respectively? Can that be done? Like the same person X is suppose the governor of Punjab and is also the administrator of Chandigarh. Can that happen? That can also happen. Can the same person be, say, the governor of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana? Can that happen? That can also happen. It means the same person can be appointed as a governor for more than one state, and the same person can be appointed as the governor as well as the administrator of a union territory. Who appoints the governor? It is the president who appoints the governor on the basis of the advice given to him by his council of ministry headed by the prime minister. Got it? It means the appointment of the governor is dependent upon ministerial advice. Got it? And very carefully, I am using the word appointment. And I'm not using the word either selection or election. Selection is always from amongst a pool of candidates. Okay, like say for example, you are being selected by the Union Public Service Commission. So there is a pool of candidates, amongst them you are taking one. So that's selection. Okay, election is when people vote for somebody, either directly or indirectly. Like the president and the vice president both are elected indirectly by electoral colleges in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. There is nothing of that sort as far as the governor is concerned. The governor is appointed by the president on the basis of the advice given to him by his council of ministers. There is no qualification also mentioned in the constitution that you have to be of this much qualification to become or to be eligible for the post of governor. That's why governors are also unceremoniously dismissed at times. Right? There is no method of appointment. There is no procedure for removal of the governor as well. Governors hold office at the pleasure of the president. Now, does that make the governor an agent of the center? Is that the case? I'm saying that the governor is appointed by the president, holds office at presidential pleasure. So he can be removed by the president anytime the president deems fit. And obviously you can understand president's pleasure is actually the pleasure of the council of ministers headed by the prime minister. So can I say then that the governor is the agent of the center? Now this is an informal term, never use it in the examination, right? That the governor is an agent of the center. The governor, you can say, the governor is a representative of the center. So you get that? That would be a more diplomatic term. Agent जो है थोड़ा अजीब सा लगता है, जैसे कि आप वहाँ पे कोई conspiracy theory लेकर गए, ठीक है? In reality, how it pans out, I'm not going into that. But theoretically, अगर हम बात करेंगे, तो we'll say that the governor is the representative of the center, ठीक है? Now, why we have opted for an appointed governor and not an elected governor? There are two reasons for this. First reason is that we wanted to have a strong center. Our federal scheme is biased towards a strong central administration because we all have the memories of partition, and that was a lamentable time for all of us. We all have seen that how there was a communal madness and bloodbath everywhere. So that's why after the partition took place, the makers of the Indian Constitution decided that we will have a strong center because the Fissiparis forces which led to the final partition of the country had not disappeared, notwithstanding the country has been dismembered into three halves at least East and the West Pakistan, and the remainder India. Okay, so that's why it was decided that we will have a strong center. And in order to have a strong center, we wanted to have somebody as the head of the executive at the state level who is more or less following the same path as the center is following, okay, or is representing the center and ensuring that the state government functions as per the provisions of the constitution. Remember that the governor can prepare a report, and through that report the governor can recommend to the president that please impose your rule in the state, because there is a complete breakdown of constitutional machinery. Okay, and the report making power is a discretionary power of the governor. Keep also this in mind. That's the first reason, strong center. That's why we did not go for an elected governor, rather an appointed governor. Second, we had adopted parliamentary system of government, not only at the national level but also at the state level. State level में parliamentary system of government का मतलब यही होगा that there will be popular ministries and they will be collectively responsible to the popular chamber of the state legislature. It means the real powers will be in the hands of the people who would exercise those power through the legislature and an elected and appointed ministry. ठीक है, तो बात ये थी कि चीफ मिनिस्टर जो है उनके पास रियल पावर्स होने वाली थी स्टेट में, जैसा हमने स्कीम बनाया था कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का. तो अब अगर गवर्नर को अपने इलेक्ट कर लिया इसके ऊपर, तो गवर्नर विल हैव ओवरआर्किंग पावर्स and that will create a lot of conflict. So to invest a lot of time to elect one person without giving him real powers would be completely nonsensical as far as political science and constitutional operation is concerned. That's why we thought that we will have an appointed governor. Two reasons. First, we wanted to have a strong center and the real powers was to be exercised by the chief minister and not by the government. ठीक है, तो ये हुई बात. Second, you see that the governor is the head of the executive. What executive? State executive. Very similar to how the president is the head of the union executive. All the executive powers of the union are vested in the president. All the executive powers of the state are vested in the governor. All the decisions of Union of India or India, Government of India, is proclaimed in the name of the president and notified in the way the president has decided them to be notified. It means the rules and regulations made by the president. Similarly, the same thing follows here as well. All the notifications, etc., are issued in the name of the governor, and they are issued in the way how the governor has decided. Like, say, for example, I told you that some presidents started using His Excellency, and then after there was Most Honorable, and then again we return to Her Excellency. Okay. So similarly, for governors also such kind of terminologies could be used, and governor decides it what terminology would be used. Generally, His Excellency is used for governors also. ठीक है. अब एक चीज देखो, that the governor is not the real head but the nominal head, like how the president is the nominal head. Constitution says that there shall be a council of ministers to aid and advise the president, who shall act as per that advice, which makes the president a nominal head and not the real head. But governor के केस में ये थोड़ा सा अलग है, ध्यान से देखो. इसमें लिखा हुआ है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में that governor shall act as per, or governor should act as per the aid and advice of his council of ministers headed by the chief minister, excepting in certain conditions where the constitution mandates him to act in his personal discretion. It means constitution itself gives some discretionary powers to the governor, whereas no such discretionary powers are enjoyed by the president. Though the president has some situational discretion, as I told you, like suppose there is no political party which is holding majority in the union legislature, then the president may choose some leader of a political party who he feels is in a position to obtain majority in the popular chamber of the union legislature. So it's a situational discretion. गवर्नर के पास भी ऐसी सिचुएशनल डिस्क्रिशन है, जैसे प्रेसिडेंट के पास है वैसे सिचुएशनल डिस्क्रिशन गवर्नर के पास भी है, पर गवर्नर के इसके परे कुछ डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर्स हैं. लाइक से फॉर एग्जांपल reserving a state bill for the consideration of the president is a discretionary power of the governor. ठीक है, discretionary power means the governor performs these powers or exercises these powers or performs these functions without the advice of his council of ministers. ठीक है, ऊपर से एक बात और लिखी हुई है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में, स्पेशली आफ्टर 42nd कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट 1976, as far as the president is concerned, लिखा हुआ है that the president shall act as per the aid and advice of his council of ministers headed by the prime minister. But यहाँ पे सिर्फ लिखा हुआ है there will be a council of ministers to aid and advise the governor. कहीं पे भी 42nd अमेंडमेंट ने इसको shall नहीं बनाया, और आपको समझ में आना चाहिए कि क्यों नहीं बनाया, क्योंकि जैसे इसको shall बनाते सेंटर का कंट्रोल खत्म हो जाता. Now he has to act as per the aid and advice of the state council of ministers headed by the chief minister. तो दो वेरिएशन है, ध्यान से समझो. पहला वेरिएशन ये है कि प्रेसिडेंट के पास कोई डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर नहीं है, एंड प्रेसिडेंट शैल एक्ट अंडर ऑल सर्कमस्टेंसेस एक्सेप्टिंग द सिचुएशनल डिस्क्रिशंस. ठीक है, जहां पे काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्ट्री है ही नहीं, समझ लो, वहां पे सिचुएशनल डिस्क्रिशन लगा सकते हैं प्रेसिडेंट. बट गवर्नर के केस में डायरेक्टली लिखा हुआ है कि कुछ तो डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर्स होंगे गवर्नर के पास, एंड दोज पावर्स विल बी एक्सरसाइज्ड बाय द गवर्नर विदाउट द एड एंड एडवाइस ऑफ द स्टेट काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स. ठीक है, एंड सेकेंडली ये वर्ड शाल यूज नहीं हो रहा है. इट मींस द 42nd कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट, इट अमेंडेड आर्टिकल 74 but it did not amend article 163, which says that there will be a council of ministers to aid and advise the governor, but it does not uses the word shall, that the governor shall act as per that advice.